right, you know what time it is. It's time for the mailbag.
We're going to jump right into the bag. Bag time.
Bag time. All right, we got Carmela and Bobby N from Buffalo, New York. They say, we just had a newborn baby, and he seems to be breastfeeding nonstop. Is this normal? So Lana breastfed.
Yes.
What do you remember about breastfeeding?
I remember Lana being extremely patient with it. It was definitely a time for her to bond with the child. I know she really, and she kind of enjoyed it for a mother. And again, I can't speak from experience. It seemed like it was a way for the mother and the child to connect. Mm-hmm. I remember the pump. I remember a lot of pumping. I remember a lot of bags in the freezer of milk. Lana did it for about a year and a half, I want to say, right. Which I don't think is typical. I think a lot of women don't.
Yeah, if you can make it to a year, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, she really, I think Crusoe maybe was a year and Serafina was a year and a half. I wasn't breastfed.
And look how you ended up.
You know,
it works.
Does it?
Yeah.
The theories.
Yeah.
Do you recommend it?
Yeah, I think any pediatrician recommends it for a whole bunch of reasons, from immune benefits to the bonding. You know, there's a million different benefits, but you know, I'm a realist, and I think parenting is hard enough. And I think that happy mommies and daddies make happy babies. So I tell my family that if you breastfeed for a day, a week, a month, and you have to supplement or you have to do more of one than the other, that's okay. The baby's going to be okay. But in breastfeeding babies, what this couple is experiencing is very common, because we have to remember, if you remember in the hospital, it actually takes 3 to 5 days for breast milk to come in. So what you're producing in the beginning is colostrum. It's sort of like a high mineral shake. It's everything the baby needs. There's not a lot of volume. So all babies lose up to 10% of their weight in the first week of life. And then the milk comes in around day 3 to 5. And the mother knows, usually because they feel heavier, they have leaking from the breast, the baby starts gulping, the poops change from that dark, remember that dark black tarry meconium to like a green, then a yellow mustard seedy color, and then the weight starts coming up. And the goal is that the baby regains their birth weight by 2 weeks of age. So we usually have that visit to make sure they're regaining birth weight, mom's breastfeeding well. And during that time, there's really no schedules. The baby is all over the place with feeding because they're losing weight and then catching up weight. So sometimes it's 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. And then breastfed babies fall into what I call a 2 to 4 routine. For the first 2 to 4 months of their life, they feed about every 2 to 4 hours around the clock. And when they take bottles, they take about 2 to 4 ounces. We're not robots. It's not hard and fast, but it's sort of ranges of that. And that's what babies follow for the first 4 months of life.
Okay. Now, I am not going to recall this verbatim. However, while Lana was breastfeeding, we came upon some literature that said that the baby, if it's deficient in something, whether it be iron, calcium, whatever it is, the breast milk gives the baby what it's deficient in. Like the boob is almost talking to the baby, right? I mean, as far as
you may be talking about two things. It actually may be the opposite for some things. So breast milk is actually not a good source of vitamin D. So all breastfed babies are placed on vitamin D supplementation.
Okay.
Breast milk's also not a great source of iron. So starting at 4 months of age.
Yeah, well, I just took the two things
right
off the top of my head.
And you flipped it.
No. Like that's all I could think of at that time was vitamin D and iron. They just so happen to be two of the things that are not in breast milk.
Right, exactly. And that's why at 4 months, we give the babies iron supplementation as well. Okay,
so what's in breast milk?
Everything else they need. Everything else they need.
Is it true?
But I wondered if you were talking about, were you thinking about like foremilk and hindmilk? Like the baby getting the fattier milk, the more caloric milk? Was that something in your head?
No, maybe it was if the baby is sick or whatever, it gets...
Oh, yeah, the immune benefits. You're getting antibodies. So when a mother's sick, mother gets a vaccine, the mom produces antibodies that get in the breast milk and help provide immunity.
Yeah.
That's why moms who get flu vaccines and whooping cough vaccines when they're pregnant, it actually been shown to decrease illness in the baby after they're born.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. See, that's my problem at this age. I hear something and then I regurgitate it years later. and it's so off what I actually wanted to say.
But since we meant the 4 milk, high milk thing is very interesting. You've heard of this, like 4 milk is the more watery, less caloric milk, and the high milk's the fattier milk. And people thought that you have to feed a certain amount of time to get to that fattier milk. But that's not the case. So whether a baby feeds 5 minutes or 20 minutes, the breast milk goes up and down, 4 milk, high milk, 4 milk, high milk. So that's why there are babies who can feed 3 to 5 minutes on one breast and get everything they need. The length of time doesn't correlate with that. And your body, like you said, is the most amazing machine. And the amount you produce is based on how full your breasts are. So if your breasts are full of milk, you have a ton of volume, your body knows I don't need a lot of the fattier milk. It's going to have a higher percentage of the 4 milk. If I cut that milk supply in half, then your body says, oh, you don't have as much volume. I'm going to make more of the fattier milk. So the woman's body is just amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And can you take that breast milk and give it to another kid? Like, meaning bag it and give it to another kid, and they're going to get what they need out of it.
How much benefits you're getting later in life, I don't know. But, some people do it with their toddlers when they're breastfeeding the other one.
They give the toddler breast milk?
If they have leftover breast milk. I don't know.
So what's the
personal choice?
What's the knock on milk? You have milk as a kid.
Yeah. And
then nobody has milk anymore.
Yeah.
Do you need milk?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know. Cow's milk has gotten a bad rap in latter years. We actually, whenever we transition off breast milk, there's a lot of options, but one of the ones we offer is whole cow's milk, and it's good for fat, which is good for brain development, vitamin D, calcium. So I don't have a problem with it. If somebody doesn't want cow's milk and there are other things, maybe they're vegan, they want, they make something called Ripple, which is a pea-based milk. There's other types of milk, whether it's almond, vanilla, hemp. The problem with a lot of these is they lack some nutrients. So if a child's transitioning to that, I need to know so I can say, well, you're not going to get folic acid really well in goat's milk. We need to make sure they're getting it in their diet. So we just need to know what we're replacing.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily talking about the transition to milk. I'm talking about kids
general.
10, 12,
Yeah,
15.
no, I think you're right. Because I see that even the kids who are drinking milk by 2 really aren't as interested anymore. I know. I have one daughter, every morning still a glass of milk. My 12-year-old, I don't know that she's had milk since we got rid of her bottle.
Have you had milk?
You're right. I have not had a glass of milk in decades.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
You?
No, same thing.
Yeah, it's just not my go-to liquid. I don't know. No, I just don't find. I don't know. Yeah, it's not something I crave. Do you crave it? Erin craved it. My wife craved it when she was pregnant, which is interesting. She craved it with the daughter that loves milk. Who knows what that means? And she craves citrus with the other one who loves orange juice. But I don't know. I don't crave it. What do you drink? What? I drink water.
It's water.
Yeah.
The only time I would have a glass of milk is with a cookie. But even then, I'm like, no one's drinking milk,
No. Nobody's having cookies late night with milk.
Like cookies and milk went hand in hand.
No, but good. Another good question from the mailbag. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
The opinions expressed in this program are not intended as professional medical advice, as a diagnosis, as a treatment protocol, or as a substitute for professional medical advice from your physician. Please consider your own medical history and consult with your own physician for your specific healthcare and/or medical needs and about your concerns for yourself and your family.